It's time now for French Connections, our weekly look at the intricacies of life here in France with Solange Mougin. Hi, Solange.
Hi, Jenny.
This week, you are focusing on France's birth rate, and it's dropping.
Yeah, France's Institute of Statistics, l'INSEE, well, it found that less than 700,000 babies were born in 2023. That is a 6.6% drop from a year before and a 20% drop from 2010. Now, such a dip raises a number of questions. Is France in trouble demographically to support its aging population and its social system? Many experts feel that that is not yet the case. How low will this birth rate go? We do not know. What role should immigration play? Will there be upticks, or is this a general trend, a generational trend as well? Again, it is still too early to tell. Now, what is tricky to assess here is the complex web of causes in this birth rate drop.
Depuis la fin de la Seconde Guerre mondiale, on n'a jamais observé un solde naturel aussi faible. D'explications comme un environnement peut-être anxiogène, un contexte économique avec une inflation importante qui peut peser sur le budget des familles, ou des questions encore plus structurelles comme par exemple le phénomène de conciliation vie familiale, vie professionnelle.
Now, Solange, France has long had a much higher birth rate than many other big nations in Europe. Has that changed?
No, with a rate of 1.68 children per woman in France, France still holds on to its bon élève or star student status compared to many other large EU countries like Spain, Italy, and Germany. But French women, and couples as well, they are deciding not to have as many children.
Moi, j'étais plutôt parti dans un enfant unique, effectivement.
On est passé quand même par le Covid, la guerre en Ukraine, le pouvoir d'achat, enfin voilà, c'est vrai que ça fait poser des questions quand même.
Now, Emmanuel Macron says he plans to tackle this dropping birth rate with a series of new measures.
Yeah, and first among them, the French president said that he wants to change the length of paternal leave. This is a leave that was created in 1977, and it comes after the 16 weeks of maternity leave and the 28 days of paternity leave. It allows parents, if they can afford it and if they want it, to take up to 3 years off after the birth of a child. They're paid just over 400 euros per month, and Macron wants to make this leave much shorter with a max of 6 months. However, in exchange, come 2025, it would be paid much better and possibly based on prior income.
Another measure that President Macron is trying to put through, or that he's announced, is to fight growing infertility in France.
Yeah, according to the World Health Organization, 1 in 6 people struggle with infertility worldwide. Over 3 million French men and women, they are thought to have fertility problems.
Un grand plan de lutte contre ce fléau sera engagé pour permettre justement ce réarmement démographique.
Now, Macron's use of the word rearming and his plea to French women to have more kids, well, it was met with outrage by women's groups who said the president's language was retrograde, macho, and an attempt to guilt women into having babies. And even some conservatives, well, they balked at his words.
Donc là, on rentre dans un degré d'intimité supplémentaire, hein, rentre dans nos lits maintenant.
So, Solange, to what extent is growing infertility to blame for France's dropping birth rate?
Well, infertility is devastating on a personal level, but it really is just a small piece in the puzzle right now about France's birth rate. Fertility problems are due to a number of factors, such as genetics, environmental pollutants, lifestyle, and of course, age. And like in many other nations, French women are having babies later. 50 years ago, the average age of a mother was 26.5 in France. Today, that average is 31.
C'est moins tôt. Moi, je pense à mes parents, ils nous ont eu, on avait 25 ans. Là, maintenant, nous, on est plus âgés.
C'est aussi pour avoir un peu, continuer à avoir du temps pour nous, nos occupations, nos loisirs.
C'est pour ça qu'on a nos carrières aussi respectives.
But the solution isn't getting women to have children earlier. Studies show that that can actually have disastrous effects on equality. And even medical advances, well, they don't make birth rates jump dramatically. Which brings us to our word du jour. It is PMA, or procréation médicalement assistée, or assisted reproductive technology like in vitro. Now, it can be a blessing for those that struggle to conceive, and for some single women and homosexual couples as well, who since 2021, well, they now are eligible for these procedures.
And the number of single and lesbian women who decide to have children is now increasing. Could that help with the birth rate?
Well, it's really too early to tell since France's bioethics law only went into effect in 2021, but the law has opened a new door for many women.
Je n'ai pas de prince charmant et du coup, pourquoi pas toute seule.
La moitié des demandes concernent des femmes seules. Elles souhaitent fonder une famille, elles souhaitent le faire de manière indépendante.
Access to medical assistance for single women and lesbian couples is also helping redefine the classic picture of family, allowing other kinds of support systems.
Ils bâtissent tout autour de cet enfant à venir tout un réseau amical, familial pour justement soutenir cette parentalité. Et leur devenir n'est pas plus compromis que des enfants qui grandiraient dans un couple classique.
Solange, just to wrap up, tell us a bit more about what might be one of the major keys to boosting France's birth rate.
Well, studies in developed nations, they've found that women who are an integral part of the workforce, well, those nations have higher birth rates. Here in France, there is little stigma about women having careers. There's less than a 10% difference between the number of men and women that work. Even in the 1950s and in the 1960s baby boom, women heading to the office and leaving their kids at school, well, it was commonplace.
Le nombre d'enfants de 3 à 5 ans ne cesse d'augmenter. Cette année, il va falloir faire front à la vague de 2 millions de petits écoliers et trouver le moyen de les faire sourire. Il y a beaucoup de mères, sans doute, ce jour-là, qui se sont senties tout à coup orphelines d'enfants.
It's changing now, but what was not common before was women being open about not wanting to have children.
Pourquoi? Parce que c'est trop chiant, voyons. On peut pas aller au sport d'hiver, on peut pas faire tout un tas de choses. Moi, j'en ai élevé 3, mais ça a été pénible. Si c'était à refaire, j'aurais plus de gosses. Je dis sans rien.
Kids or no kids, many or just one, French women, well, they are deciding for themselves whether they want children in their future, and that in itself is a very, very precious thing.
It certainly is. Solange, thank you so much for that look at the birth rate here in France. Don't forget, if you want to get a look at more of the French Connections episodes, you can always check them out on our website, france24.com, or ask your own questions to Solange about life here in France by reaching out on social media.